Alright, so I changed the camera angle so that it'd be a little bit easier to see what I'm doing. Unfortunately, my camera is now attached to my table, so it might wiggle. I can't tell if it is or not. So what I'm going to do next is add the shading. And what I'm going to do, I'm not going to quite use the same color that I used for the water. When I was using the lighter water color, I used... No, we're going to use the lighter blue. Okay, so I want to use this blue that's a little bit lighter in color to do their shading. Now, let's see. My camera setup's going to make it a little bit tougher for me to move this pad of paper around. So, I guess we'll see how it goes, so bear with me. So make sure that my brush is wet. I'm dipping it in the paint, which you can't see. Here we go. Here, dipping it in the paint. Let's try this one here. So I know that the shadow is going to be on the lower side of the body here. Need to adjust my light a little bit. The light reflects off the water color and makes it too shiny. I can't quite see what I'm doing. Now, wiping any extra paint off of my brush and trying to blend that in. I use these aqua brushes. They have space for water in the handles. Looks like this one needs to be refilled. Although it doesn't always work too well, so I have my water bucket off to the side that I also dip my pen into. Okay, so I refilled the water in my paintbrush thing here. Spilt some a bit there. And let's see. I'll continue to add a little bit of shading just to the edges here. The way I learned how to do this was completely by just painting and finding stuff like, oh wow, that works, that I really like how that looks, and I'll keep doing that. So the eyes, I'm also painting blue. I'll be adding a little bit of black later, but for now, a little bit blue, as well as some of the shading around them. Wipe some of that extra paint off so that I can blend it in. This one had a little bit of an accident too while I was peeling off the stuff, peeling off the masking fluid. Okay, so any shading or anything that I'm going to do to the fins I'll take care of later when I figure out what color fish is going to be. For now, I'm mostly just getting some shading to the body. So there's going to be a little bit, just a tiny bit of shading along this edge too. I'm going to wipe off the excess paint off my brush. And I continue to wipe off any extra paint on my towel there. So something else I like to have with my ponds, I like to have one black fish. And the reason for that is that black fish, if you have one in your pond, it's the one that absorbs all the bad luck. So before I continue shading some, I'm going to figure out which one. I think I'm going to have this one be that. So with this one, I create the shading but with the black paint. And these are just like basic base colors. As I continue to work, I'll be continuing to add more, take some away with working with them. And when you look at a black koi in a pond, usually they're really hard to see. But also when you do see them, I've got pictures of them where the scales actually, it looks like they're not black, but they're really dark brown, and it's absolutely beautiful. I just haven't figured out yet how to capture that. That would take a little extra time, and right now I don't have a lot of time. I'll be adding some extra definition to these later. Remember what I said, when you paint with the watercolors, the color lightens as it dries. So this is just the base. I'll be touching it up more later on, but now I know which one is that. Is that Good Luck Koi there. So I'm going to go back to shading the other ones. When I'm adding the shading for what's the dark side of the koi, I need to make sure I pay attention to where I have my shadow. So I'm not going to add dark shading here because that's the direction the light is coming from. The darker shading is going to be on this side. So I've said in past videos, one of the reasons why I like these brushes is I can kind of scrub with them. When you've got a brush like, when you've got a natural hair brush or even a synthetic hair, they're not really good for trying to scrub away anything, and that's just something I enjoy doing, kind of scrubbing at the paint. I feel like I can really manipulate it better that way. Okay, I'm gonna try something. Better to try it now. On this fish, I'm gonna shade it with the same color of blue that I use for the background. And we'll see how it looks. You know, shade for the water. I think I like it better. So the rest of the koi I'm going to shade using this darker blue. Yep. This is called blotting. So using the paper towel out, wetting down that, and then picking it up, it helps to lighten the color. Since I'm trying new things, I'm going to try something else. Ugh. Try it on this one. This one's got a little bit of a weird thing going on here where the water didn't quite where the masking fluid didn't quite reach. So we'll figure something out with that. Okay, so here's what I'm thinking. Well, now I can't try it on that because I got that part wet. I'll try it on this one. I am going to wet it down first. I'm just going to wet down the side here that's going to have the shadow. I'm keeping the part that's... Oh wait, that's not the part that's going to have the shadow. See, I would have totally messed up. Let's try it on this one. Okay. Wet down the side that's going to have the shadow. Now, if I go in with my blue... Nope, I don't like it. It becomes too universal. But now I knew. I want to lighten the color up because yeah, I think this is way too dark. I just add more water to my brush. No paint, just water. Kind of move that around. Now I'm going to wipe off some of the excess, and with a slightly drier brush, kind of manipulate that to where I want it to be. I like the way this one looks. Now sometimes what I will do when I'm painting these koi is I will remind myself what they look like by looking at pictures on my phone. I'll even get ideas for patterns by doing that. Unfortunately, I'm filming this with my phone, so these I might have to just kind of think about past patterns I've done and redo those. This one does not have a shadow. Oh yes it does, its shadow's down there. I get kind of repetitive with how I do shadows and everything. To begin with, everything looks pretty much the same. And one of the reasons why I do that is it helps the painting go faster for me. Especially right now, like I said, the due date is coming up for entering this into its contest. And so when it comes to the shading and stuff like that, I'm not, this base coat shading, I'm not being too, like, super careful. But when it comes to adding the decorations to the koi, that's when I will pay more attention to what I'm doing. Because if these, if one of these, because I'm doing 3 of them, if one of them gets picked, then it'll end up going someplace where people will be seeing it while they're just driving by. And so I figure what they're going to see the most will be the patterns. And so that's what I should pay the most attention to. That's not going to fill in too well.